Alright, so today, an impromptu look at the Palm Pixi Plus. So, let's slide this over. Now, I was talking about doing it like a while back. Some of you may know this, others not so much. So, right here I've got a pile of phones. Lumia 635, a Samsung Galaxy J3 Prime, LG Stylo 2 Plus, Galaxy J7 Pro, and a OnePlus One. But the Palm Pixi Plus is not one of these phones. Palm Pixi Plus is far smaller. So let me open up this roll-up bag here, and look. There they are. Yes, this is how small they are. Now both of these phones are identical to each other, as they are both the same Verizon variant. I'll put them off to the side for now. Now, this here is a Motorola Moto E 2014. It's a fairly small phone, and the Pixi Plus is actually smaller in size in comparison. Now, when we compare it to a somewhat modern phone, like the OnePlus One, it dwarfs it in size. Same thing with my S7. But that's not what we're talking about today. Instead, we'll be taking a look at the phones. This one is in a stock configuration. This one has been modified. And the stock one is in poor condition since it's actually been used quite heavily before I got it, whereas this one has not. And now we wait. They take a while to power on. Now, an interesting tidbit about them is that this phone was released a year after the first iPhone, so they are actually fairly old to begin with. And we continue to wait. There's one. Now, in comparison, here's an iPod Touch 4th generation. They're actually roughly the same size. Maybe not the same. Yeah, definitely. Oh. I'll be damned. They are roughly the same width. Alright. Come on, wake back up. There we go. Alright. So right off the bat, you'll notice a few things. For starters, modified one shows battery percentage in the top right hand corner. And to modify this one, just in general, I had to do a bit of research. There was a utility that I forgot to use that allowed me to install unsigned stuff and expose the Linux kernel of these a little bit more. Now, they both run WebOS 1.4 something. I keep opening that up. Device info. We'll check. Okay, I don't have that number, and I don't know who does, so good enough for me. Now this other phone, the phone number registered to it is still active, not on the phone itself, but yeah, 1.451 for both. Now, this one is also loaded with music, too, but to get out of stuff, you just hit the, I forget what it's called. There's a light that appears in the gesture area. So if I were to open up Preware, notice how a line appears. Now, Preware is sort of like an app store, you might say. You could download third-party apps and other stuff. Now, I'll open up the Palm app catalog, and you'll quickly see that nothing works, which is to be expected. Now, while this one is doing stuff, I'll quickly demonstrate some features that it has. So, to close apps, I'm zoom out slightly. Now, many modern phones have copied this, but you just swipe up to close. Simple as that. Now, I will open up the music app and the camera app. Now, to switch between them, it's very simple. You can swipe to the left and swipe to the right to go back, kind of like how you can on Android. Or you can also, so you move your finger up from the gesture area, and you can open apps that are on your quick launch bar, like the browser. I will close that. Now, to switch apps, I brought up the thing, but you just slide in the gesture area. Now, something you may notice is the bottom edges of the screen in the UI are curved. When I open up the camera app, it shows it completely full screen. However, switching to this, it shows no corners now. You'll find that kind of design language still around in things like the GNOME desktop environment. Whereas task switching, you'll see reminiscent on... I'd like to say, well, definitely iOS, but I'm not too certain if it's on other mobile operating systems now. So, these run WebOS. And WebOS is, well, deprecated on phones. LG actually goes ahead and they ported WebOS in a way, made it newer, updated the Linux kernel, and now their TVs run it, which is actually kind of cool, to be honest. Now, I don't quite have any apps that open up the Linux command line, but these definitely are Linux-based. They definitely do have the Linux kernel in them. What else can I cover in this? These superseded the Palm Pre, or no, they're the successor to the Palm Pre. Now, they've got a keyboard on them, which is kind of expected. Let's open up the web browser and demonstrate the keyboard. It's actually somewhat... Let's see if my Wi-Fi is fast enough to load Google. And this is a poor demonstration for the phone since it really is not this slow. The Wi-Fi router is actually messed up right now. Now, I mistyped Google. Oh well. Actually, let's look at the modern web. By no means can this phone handle playback of video. It just doesn't. Oh yes, trust certificates. So, because of how outdated the phone is, Palm at the time never thought these phones would continue to be used to 2019. So the certificates internally are expired, and well, whenever you go to any website, you constantly get complaints about the certificates being out of date or whatever. So we'll look at a channel that I just thought of offhand, which would be Elias Tech Tips. We'll actually try to see if this sucker can stream video, but I already know the answer to it. Oh. Well, thank you, David. That actually seems like an interesting idea. I'll look into that. Presently, I've been doing some research on a project. We'll continue to wait for that to load, and move the light out of the way. I've been looking at the feasibility of Postmarket OS running on an Acer A200 tablet, which is hiding away in a drawer. Yeah, it's buried. I'm not going to pull it out. Unable to load page. Well, what else should we expect? It's old. Now, as for the phone itself, it's not capable of doing much. It really isn't. I mean, yeah, to a degree, you can use them, even today, but just not really. Now, I grabbed this modified phone so I can go ahead and show some tweaks I've done. So instead of a 3x3 grid, I did a 4x3. Now, from any part of the home screen, whether in the launcher or in the app drawer, you can just start searching for stuff. So if I want to search for GOG, there you go. Now, the phone was designed with the web in mind, kind of like how Google Android Go I don't know if it's an initiative or what. It's sort of supposed to be like a lightweight phone that mostly runs off the web. And for the most part, Palm WebOS was exactly like that. Same thing with Firefox OS, which has been discontinued. Now, is there anything else I want to add? Apart from the design of these devices and the underlying technologies as to how they worked, they really do not do much for the modern age anymore. Yeah, they started off a operating system. They introduced some design concepts, but largely they were not very well known. I'll power off this phone and we'll take a look at the underside of the battery. Now, like iOS, I'll move this up to the camera. Let's shine down. It will do a little spinny circle. Usually at the dimmest brightness. Something I kind of find annoying, but oh well. Now, if I click off the lights for a moment, the keyboard is backlit. Alright. Oh, yes. So, I don't know which contacts, these ones or these two above the micro USB port. One of them is for the Palm Touchstone charger, which is a predecessor to the Qi wireless charging standard. It was exclusive to Palm devices like the well, these had the capability, and the they had a tablet that ran WebOS. I forget what it's called. Unfortunately for Palm, they never really lasted long once these phones were released. Wow, I am stumbling a lot tonight. But HP bought Palm out, and well, they didn't do much, and it was too little, too late, for lack of better terms. The Palm brand, as we used to know it, has largely died. Some people may know of how it was revived with a little Android phone called the Palm, made by a company calling themselves Palm. Ah yes, the Palm companion phone. Which is largely not very great. Now, as for the size of it, wow, everything's loading. Yeah, Verizon calls it the Palm Palm, which is weird. I want to see the screen size. 3.3 inch. Alright. Well, let's take a look. So grab a handy tape measure. Screens are measured diagonally. We'll zoom out. Ooh. This is 2 3/4 inch touchscreen. Let's look at one of my Android gingerbread phones. Now, I forget what models they are, but we'll take a look. That's roughly 3.3. So is that, I guess. So roughly with the new Palm, your screen size would roughly be about the size of one of these. Needless to say, it's actually, assuming it's like this phone, I'd say like it's kind of a look back as to how old Palm smartphones were. Now, they were revolutionary for a while, but as for making how stuff is today, I'd definitely say it kind of helped. As for what the future of Palm holds, I do not know. Unfortunately, there's only so much innovation that can occur. And companies have to really try to differentiate themselves now. And it's not just phones and computers. Look at the auto industry. Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge. If you look at all three of their 2018 or 2019 trucks together, I don't know which model year it is, but unfortunately they all look identical, and that's how smartphones are looking. A majority of them have a notch, and it's terrible design language. But I won't get into that rant. Oh, wait, I am doing that right. Wow, can't even use my own roll-up bag. That's wonderful. Let's put some phones away. Alright. Well, I suppose that'll conclude this live stream. If there's any ideas for upcoming ones, let me know. Bye.